Welcome to the Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. I'm so happy you found us. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on I-Fiber One News Radio, KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Well, good morning to you. Wednesday here at I-Fiber One. Jeff Slakey, Spencer Hughes. Good morning, Spencer.
Hey, good morning. What's that pitter-patter I'm hearing on the skylights? I don't know what's going on. Is it squirrels?
Well, we're not making any special announcements. No, it's something that we haven't heard in a long time. The rain is out there.
Oh, my gosh. That's what it is. That's why I got soaking wet going to the garbage can.
That's what it was. It certainly was a welcome change to wake up and hear the sounds of the rain and smell the smells of the rain. It's great. I made sure I mowed my lawn short last night.
Yep.
And put on some things on it to help it move into the fall. And boy, I picked a perfect time for it.
Oh, yeah.
Got a great show today. We are going to be talking with Beth Gizzi from the Hub Center for Seniors up in Belfair. Also, a representative from Bloodworks Northwest, and Beau, Chief of Fire at North Mason Regional Fire. They have got a blood drive coming up. Now, it is a registration-required blood drive, and they are getting very close to filling their limit, but there could still be opportunities to get in, as well as they have another one planned down the road. You know, sometimes somebody will register and then they'll pull back out, so it's good information to have. And they're working on a blood drive up there, and so that'll be a fun one. We've got more information and news, of course, to start your day. But as we mentioned, pretty rainy throughout the day, right?
Yeah, it's going to be raining throughout the day, and we should get between 1 and 2 inches of rain. And the way it's dumping down already, by the time I woke up, I do not doubt that at all. We'll probably get all of those 2 inches, which is good. We need it. And rain tonight, too.
And since our last report here on the show, Mason County Public Health notified of 3 additional Mason County residents testing positive for COVID-19, bringing the total now to 404 since March. Case investigations and contact tracing does help in reducing the spread in our community. Was I exposed to COVID-19? So according to the CDC, exposure means closer than 6 feet without a mask for 15 minutes or more with a confirmed positive, or exposed to body fluids of a confirmed positive without gloves or proper PPE. And those answers to that question came from the daily information from the county. Just a reminder, keep your hands clean, wear your masks, and at the end of the day, or the end of a trip where you come back in, Spencer, I don't know how you've been, but our family has really been cognizant of, as soon as we get into the house, we go wash our hands fully, regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a good time to be complacent right now, where it's like you're getting so close to the end, you know? Like I have my 50 by 50 goal to lose weight. It would be like at the very end, I start eating onion rings and I stop walking and exercising. Don't do that. We're close to the finish line with this whole thing. We really are. And that finish line is going to get further into the horizon. The more people refuse to wear the masks and wash their hands and just think that now's the time to get sloppy. It isn't.
Well, you know, I'm hearing reports from across the pond, you know, in Europe, and now they're facing the realization of possibly a second wave. And I don't know if it was complacency followed by just a desire to return to some sort of normalcy, but they have got some trends that are going, it looks like, in the wrong direction over there, at least.
Yeah. So everybody just be vigilant, you know, be responsible. A logic and accuracy test of our vote tallying system in preparation for the November 3rd general election will be conducted on September 24th, tomorrow, 10 in the morning, in the ballot processing room located at 411 North 5th Street here in Shelton. Testing of the accessibility voting system will also be conducted at this time. These tests are open to candidates, the press, and the public. Additionally, we're producing a series of voting-themed videos with the Elections Office. The first one is about being vote ready, and it's out soon with great information.
We, in partnership with ABC News, are going to provide live anchored coverage of the presidential debates that are upcoming and the vice presidential debate. The first presidential debate is going to be, well, it was a week from yesterday. It's coming up on the 29th from Cleveland. It'll be, of course, President Trump and Vice President Biden at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. Start time is 6 for the debate, but we have a pre-debate analysis show starting at 5, and then some debate analysis after. Candidates, or folks who know candidates, we have commercial availabilities in the pre and post of the debate. If you'd like to advertise, this is must-listen-to radio. Call or email Rod for details on this one, rod@ifiber1.com.
Each year, the Chamber proudly presents its annual awards and nominations. They're now open until September 30th at 5 p.m. It's coming up in a week. These aim to recognize the businesses and individuals in recognition of their accomplishments during the calendar year. The community is invited to make nominations for the following 5 categories: Business of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Boss of the Year, Citizen of the Year, Community Supporter of the Year. Again, you can send in your nominations until September 30th at 5 p.m. at masonchamber.com.
And on a game heard here last night, the Houston Astros beat the Seattle Mariners 6-1 to close on their 4th straight playoff berth as well. We've got more Mariners through the rest of the week, and they'll wrap up at the end of the month, and we'll move fully into Seahawk football and Wazoo Cougar football, or Cougar sports, or the college update that we're going to be doing on Saturday. I still keep hearing bits of information. Obviously the Big 12 and some other conferences are starting to play football, but then just after you hear that news, you hear a story of blank many more positive confirmed on the COVID, or this team is now quarantined because of COVID. So it's really up in the air. But if the Cougars in the state of Washington get the allowance to play in the Pac-12 North, or the whole of the Pac-12, of course, we'll have that coverage information and programming for you here on the radio. It's still really up in the air on some of these things. But today on the show, we've got another great conversation about an upcoming blood drive up in Belfair and more. It's all here on Daybreak. Good morning to you.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Well, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes on the Daybreak Show. Coming up in just a couple of days is a big, great, and needed event up at the Hub Center for Seniors in Belfair. From the Hub, Beth Gizzi is on Zoom with me right now. Morning, Beth.
Morning.
Good to talk
nice
with
to see you.
And it's a big blood drive. It's going to be at the Hub Center for Seniors. It's Friday and Saturday, Friday from 9 to 4 and Saturday from 8 to 4. Now, it's important to note, as we're going to bring in a representative from BloodWorks Northwest, and we're going to talk to North Mason Regional Fire, because of COVID, things have really changed when it comes to blood donation. So you will see a little bit of a different type of blood drive at the Hub this upcoming Friday and Saturday. Is that right, Beth?
Yeah, that's right. So we used to host Northwest Bloodworks in our parking lot quite frequently with the mobile bloodmobile, which people are super familiar seeing that. And so I'd say at least about once a month they used to come. But since COVID, things have changed everything, and they're not able to use their bloodmobile any longer. So when I had heard about the need for blood, originally I tried to schedule a bloodmobile, but then I was like, oh, you can't do that anymore. So decided to schedule a pop-up center at the Hub, and worked with Jeannie over at Northwest Bloodworks to make that happen. And Beau called right then too, and we got to do something about the blood drive. And I was like, we got one scheduled, and he's really helped push the event because we're happy and wanted to bring some hope to the community during this time.
It's kind of interesting to have Jeannie on from BloodWorks Northwest and then Beau on from the North Mason Regional Fire Authority too, because for Jeannie, she's kind of like the first recipient of this, and at some point down the road, Beau likely to be working with this folks at the EMTs and stuff to be the recipients of eventually some of the bloods that have been donated over the course of these drives. Jeannie, talk to me a little bit about the logistics here, what people have to do to register if they find out that some of the times are booked already for this Friday and Saturday. I know there's another one coming in November. So how does that all work?
Well, the best thing to do is either just go directly to our website, which is Bloodworks NW, like Bloodworks Northwest, bloodworksnw.org, and just click on schedule a donation. And from there, you can input, if you want to go directly to the event at the hub, you can just input Belfair, and then that one will come up. Or you can, if that's full, then you can just input your zip code, and then everything in the area will come up. So you'll have a choice of things. But yes, we will be back. Thank you, Beth, for inviting us back and hosting us again in November. We'll be back November 20th and 21st, again on a Friday and a Saturday. And if I can just give a shout out to Beau, I haven't had the privilege of meeting him yet, but I want to first of all thank him for the wonderful video that he posted on Facebook. That was just amazing, Beau. Thank you so much. And also wanted to let everybody know that we are honoring our first responders. We just recognized the 19th anniversary of 9/11 last week. And to honor our first responders, what we're doing is we're having what's called a virtual drive, which people can donate at any site, any pop-up, any center. And we're trying to get 137 donations to honor the first responders. And the reason for 137, it sounds like kind of an odd number. Each unit of blood is divided into 3 separate parts: red blood cells, plasma, and platelets. So 137 units could potentially save 412 lives. And Beau probably knows this. I'm sure he does. 412 is the number of first responders that we lost on 9/11. Wow. So it's in honor of them. So you can go, when you go to the hub, if you have an appointment at the hub, you just give them, when you sign in for your appointment, when you show up to donate, just give them the donor code FIRST, which is the number 1 ST, FIRST. And then that'll get credited to the virtual drive. And hopefully we'll get 137 donations to honor those first responders. One other thing that we're doing now till the end of September is we're testing all donors' blood for COVID-19 antibodies, because we are very involved with the convalescent plasma program. So this is, we don't want people coming in if they think they have COVID. Please don't come in. We don't want, just like you don't come in if you have a cold or
right.
you're sick or anything. We don't want you coming in if you're having symptoms. We will send you home. But this is a way that people can find out if they've had COVID. And if they have, we will let everybody know about 2 weeks after the drive. They'll get a letter from us saying if they were positive or negative for the antibodies. And if they're positive, then they'll be invited to donate plasma to hopefully help people that have COVID.
Beau, we talk a lot about the give back in the community after events like 9/11 and the amount of people across the country that rolled up their sleeves and gave blood to help in that. And then over the years, it kind of ebbs and flows as these events happen. But this event, this pandemic has really kind of thrown that all up in the air, because once March kind of 15th happened and we are all kind of aware that this lockdown is happening, everybody was really concerned on, how does this get transmissed? What if, can we even give blood? I mean, that was a huge question back a few months ago.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, maybe it wasn't. And the reason why I say that is because I don't even know if blood donation was even registering with folks at that particular time. We were immersed with so many other things. And the way I got involved was same thing. I wasn't thinking about blood donation at all, but we moved into summer, and Beth can attest to this, but we saw the activity, the number of people coming in our community, folks coming over from King County, took our population and just, skyrocketed. And with that comes significant volume of emergencies and incidents that we had. a lot of those being trauma patients, a lot of those being medical patients that we know later on, of course, we'll deliver them to the healthcare facilities and the hospitals, but they're going to need blood products. And I'd seen an article come out that said, hey, don't forget about us over here in donating blood. And all of a sudden, I'm like, you're absolutely right. I mean, whereas people were, giving and receiving blood has always been a challenge. We see that constantly, but it's got to be even more complicated with COVID-19. And so I've seen what this community has done as we've rallied behind different events, whether it be natural disaster events, whether it be different things that happen in this community. So I called Beth and I said, hey, I understand you're having this thing. What can we do to help? And I'm going to make a bold guarantee here, Jeannie, but we're going to have every one of the spots filled for September. So
I don't doubt that, Beau. I don't doubt that.
Yeah. And then obviously the recognition of the first responders. And then, of course, what happened 19 years ago, that means a lot to us as well. So the opportunity to give back and help, and then the thing is you're sitting here in the chair and, you're giving some blood, but ultimately you're saving a life. You don't necessarily get to witness that downstream, but that's exactly what you're doing. And so when we are treating trauma patients and bringing people to hospital, we know that this is the difference between life and death. And so on 3:00 this Friday, I'll be down there in the chair. I know it's safe as can be. All those testing and safety protocols are in place, and just happy to be a part of this.
So let's talk about those safety protocols that are going to be in place, Jeannie, just to make sure everybody is comfortable to come on down. How does it look?
Well, that's one of the things that changed when the pandemic hit, is that, like Beth was saying, we can no longer use our blood mobiles because we can't social distance on them, and that has created a struggle for us. Also, I'd like to mention that with the schools closed, we don't have blood drives at high schools anymore, and that was 20 to 25% of our blood donations. So we're constantly pivoting, and our donors have been wonderful. Our staff has been amazing, and people are really stepping up. But we follow all CDC guidelines in terms of social distancing, by appointments only. The only people that are allowed in are the people that are donating. Everyone wears a mask, donors and staff. So we do everything, and there's plenty of sanitizing of equipment and hand washing and all of those things that we know we all should be doing really all the time. So it's really a very safe process. We make it as safe as possible for our donors and our staff. And one thing I'd like to mention too, that Beau was talking about, the experience that he's had first time with trauma. I just want to underscore that because BloodWorks is a local, independent, not-for-profit organization, we've been in existence for over 70 years, your blood donation stays in this area. We supply to all the local hospitals, including Mason General, Harrison, and it stays here. So the blood that you donate today could be used for a friend, a neighbor, even a family member next week. And I think it's always gratifying when there's a tragedy or a natural disaster or something and people line up. I've seen it, out the door, down the street, around the corner. But the time to give is now, because like on 9/11, the people that gave blood the week before are the ones that helped those victims. And again, so it's important to keep a good, steady blood supply. Really, 40% of our population is eligible to donate, but out of that, unfortunately, only about 10% actually do on a routine basis. So,
and as people listen to this, again, it's important to note that with these new blood drives, registration and specific times are required here. I know that people will be hearing this and they'll be seeing this and they'll be excited to want to give blood. But if you haven't registered yet, you must do that. And again, you go to the BloodWorks Northwest website, which we'll put the links in the show notes when people rewatch this for folks. But that's kind of a reminder that it's a limited space availability to make sure everybody there is safe. Beth, remind me again the address at the hub for folks who are heading up there.
The address at the hub is 111 Northeast Old Belfair Highway, and that's Belfair, Washington, 98528. I wanted to mention one more thing because this community is so great. Like, everybody I've talked to about this blood drive is like, sign me up. How do I do it? We're there. North Mason, all of Mason County is just fantastic about coming out and supporting. But Burger Claim is also giving out coupons at the event if you're a donor. So one more reason to go donate blood is that you get a great coupon from Burger Claim to go have a great meal with them. So one.
You had that ready to go.
I did. I'm ready.
That's awesome. Jeannie, it was really great talking to you. Beth, it's always good to see you. Beau, let's catch up down the road and see how the works are doing with the new fire hall and everything up there at North Mason. How's that sound, bud?
Absolutely. It's outstanding.
So again, the blood drives are you have to register for these blood drives that are coming up Friday. It's 9 to 4 and 8 to 4. Definitely check to see if anybody has backed out of their time, because that might be an opportunity for you to fit in. And if you don't find an opportunity these upcoming days, November again, or you can just look for that local search on the Bloodworks website. Jeannie, Beth, Beau, good to see you all.
Yes, you too.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Again, good Wednesday to you here. It's the 23rd day of September. We moved into the autumnal equinox, not the vernal equinox that I
Who would have said that?
Spoke yesterday.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I know.
I didn't know either.
Thank you so much for the folks. I don't know. I want to say a big thanks to the folks who reached out and let me know that I misspoke on that one. It only happens twice a year. I mean, come on, dude. Checking out a new survey from Wallet Hub. They always have some interesting things. WalletHub.com. This is the 2020 happiest states in America. This is a tough one this year because they look a little bit of everything, but then, of course, with COVID in the mix, that is also part of this. And we've got some interesting findings. You know, a lot of folks in the contiguous U.S. probably would always default to this, the happiest state in the U.S., Hawaii. I mean, it's kind of tropical paradise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what a cliche. Come on. I guessed it, actually, that it would be Hawaii.
I wonder, though, for the folks that live there on the island, you know, I've been there maybe once in my life, and it's got to just be, you know, I've heard the cost of living down there is gigantic because everybody wants to live down there. You got 10 surfer dudes all living in one cramped bungalow because they want to, you know, be the next big surfing star, but there's just a lot of folks, and I don't know. Maybe that's just me trying to slough it off because I know I'll never live there.
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting. I've never been. Sarah's been a few times before we met, and I definitely want to go. But another thing, too, is it depends on who you are. If you're a native Hawaiian, right? I mean, it's well known that I had a friend who owned property down there. If you're not Hawaiian, you know, it's not. I'm not making a condemnation here. It's just reality. Some people, not all, will treat you horribly. I mean, they will. I mean, there's some people that just feel like total outsiders. Like if you and I moved down there, our families from Washington, they wouldn't take too lightly or kindly to it in some places. So I guess it depends on who you are and where
I've heard that. So what did they look for here? And it'd be interesting to note, too, how this rates last year. If because of the COVID impact, there's a lot of movement on these states. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
But they looked at a couple different interesting aspects.
Yeah, so they looked at 3 key dimensions: emotional and physical well-being, work environment, and community and environment. So they looked at 32 key indicators of happiness, from how much people sleep to number of work hours, the weather, even the positive cases of COVID-19 testing over the past 4 weeks. So they brought in some contemporary stuff into the study too.
So when we're looking at this sheet, basically you can go to Wallet Hub and look up happiest states for this, but it's really interesting to see the changes. So we were talking about Hawaii being number 1, but when you break the numbers down, they are 2 on emotional and physical well-being. That makes sense. You're in paradise. But they're 16th in work environment. And this is another conversation to be had when it comes to the balance, your work-life balance, because now number 2, Utah, They're ranked 14th in emotional and physical well-being, but ranked number 1 in both work environment and community environment.
Wow, that is interesting too. And I know everybody's thinking, where did we land on this? We did make the top 20. We didn't make the top 10. But Washington is number 15. And I don't believe, I've only lived, I don't know about you, but have you always lived in Washington? Was there a time where you lived outside of here?
I spent a couple years in Portland, but other than that, no.
So I've only lived in California and here. So like 47 years in California, a couple years here now. I can't even imagine the catastrophic state of California ranking number 6. I really can't. But
their numbers too don't have anything above a 6 in the ranking. That's what's interesting. They're ranked 7th in emotional, 18 in work, and 13 in community.
Yeah, and we were talking about how our cousin to the south here in the Pacific Northwest, I don't know, you would think similar political setup, similar weather, similar geography, similar all this stuff, you would think Oregon and Washington, right? Oregon's number 41. They're number 41 on this list. They're in between Missouri and Alaska, so we're pretty good up here.
You know why? because our signal doesn't reach down there very well in Oregon.
Right.
That's why right. Washington's blessed to have us peppering them with great news and information like this every morning.
Exactly right, and that's why West Virginia is number 50 because they're really far away from us. They don't get any ghost of a signal.
No, it doesn't. It just doesn't come in that far.
Do they have phone apps in West Virginia? Could they go online? I'm just kidding. Come on, I'm just kidding.
Doesn't matter. Nobody's listening from there anyway. All right, more Daybreak coming up. We've got more great conversations throughout the morning. Tom Hartman, Sebastian Gorka, Dave Ramsey. A lot of great programming here on AM 1030 and FM 103.3. Daybreak Show continues.
Thank you so much for listening to today's Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. Again, I'm so happy and honored you found us and chose to listen. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of some of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on iFiber One News Radio KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Thank you so much again, and talk with you next time.